other ways to make money in real estate outside of the traditional buying a home, right? Like as far as even doing real estate as a profession. And a lot of people think about real estate as a profession, think about, selling homes as an agent, to sell homes. But you have a unique theory that we need more people in other areas. So talk about that.
Yeah, man. Again, thank you guys for having me. Always appreciate to be here, and especially talking about this topic because I really feel as if the mortgage business saved my life. 20 plus years ago, college dropout, didn't really know what I was going to do in my life, to be honest with you. And my best friend, who's a pastor, who's also going to be at Invest Fest, Philip Anthony Mitchell,
Thanks.
probably the most viral pastor in America in 2025. We grew up together, and he's the one who told me to become a loan officer. And in fact, I thought, he's trying to tell me to be a cop at first. I'm like, what the hell is a loan officer, bro? Like, I'm not being no cop. He's like, nah, it's the people who give people a mortgage. I didn't even know what a mortgage was, right? He was like, it's a loan that people get to buy a house with. And this was 2003. And I've been in the industry ever since, and it changed the trajectory of my life, my children's life. I have, shout out to Brooke. She's in college right now. She has no student loans. And, my son's graduating high school this month, and he's going to go to college with no student loans. So it's been able to set up a trajectory in my life that I was able to break generational curses, not just from a home ownership standpoint, just from a financial standpoint. And it was being in the mortgage business. So when people look to get into this business, they look at being a real estate agent, right? When you have all these shows that highlight selling homes, right? You have the $1 Million Listings, you have the Ryan Serhants of the world, right?
Mhm.
All these shows glorify being a real estate agent. The real estate agent is the rock star. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but these folks are getting loans, right? These folks are not sitting out here buying all these properties all cash, no matter what the TV will tell you, right? People are getting financing, but it has to be someone that's doing a loan. And that's basically what I do. But we don't get the credit. We don't get the recognition as loan officers because we're pretty much, people think of us, we're just stuck behind the computer in the bank, right? And with platforms like Earn Your Leisure giving me an opportunity to talk about my genius, which is real estate finance, and it's put us now on a platform to where people are now being influenced by me and now getting into the industry. I can't tell you guys over the past 6-7 years how many people said they got into the mortgage business because of Earn Your Leisure podcast and watching me on the podcast. So I wanted to have that conversation to the audience to kind of break down, like, look, this is the route. If you want to get into real estate and you might not have all the money to buy your first home, a duplex, buy investment properties, you should really get into the mortgage industry. And it doesn't take much for you to do so. You have to be 18 years or older, have no felonies on your record, take a 20-hour pre-licensing education exam. It's called the SAFE exam, right? And it's only 20 hours, right? Think about 20 hours. That's 3 days. If you go to class in person, doing
So walk me through the process. Like if I myself wanted to do this today, right? I can't take a 20-hour test because I don't know what's on the information. So, okay, is it a self-study? Like, is it like a Kaplan thing where you can actually buy a course to help you study for the test and then take the test online?
Good question. So you can do it in person or virtually, right? If you do it in person, you can do it, break that 20 hours into, most schools will offer it just in a week, right? You can break that 20 hours into a week, but if you do it online, you could do it self-study. They'll probably give you 2 to 3 weeks to complete that 20 hours. But so whatever floats your boat, you can do it. The investment to get into this 20-hour class is going to cost you around $500-$600 only.
And then, right? So that you're learning as you're taking the test.
So you're learning the laws, right? So the licensing exam is going to teach you the laws. It's not going to teach you sales. It's not going to teach you product knowledge. It's going to teach you the laws, so that way you don't commit fraud and get locked up. Period.
Very important.
Very extremely important. Here at Earn Your Leisure Network, we do not promote mortgage fraud or any type of fraud at all, right? So this is going to teach you how to keep yourself out of jail, do the right thing. But it's only 20 hours, fellas. It's not a long time in retrospect. So once you pass the class, then you have to take the federal exam. The federal exam is probably a couple hours long. Let's just call it 2 hours long. I haven't taken it in 10, 15 years, but it's probably like 2 hours to 3 hours long. And you have up to 3 chances to take the federal exam. If you fail 3 times, then you have to wait, I think, 6 to 12 months before you can retake it again. But the key is, before you take your federal exam, you should take practice exams, right? Because they mimic exactly what's going to be on a federal exam. And once you start getting over 75 to 80 consistently, then you're ready to take that federal exam. But once you pass the federal exam, then boom, you have to now find a lender or a mortgage broker that's going to sponsor your license, and then your license will be issued. Depending on the state, it can take anywhere up to 30 days to 6 months. Like New York is the slowest. I think New York is the slowest with everything in life, right? To get your New York license, from the time you submit to the time they approve it, it can take about 6 to 8 months. But states like New Jersey, Florida, Georgia, you can get those within 30 days tops. But the key to all of this, you have to work for a mortgage lender or a mortgage broker that are licensed in these states. So it's a wonderful career path for anyone who likes numbers, who likes customer service, and does sales. So if you are currently a CPA, even if you're a current real estate agent, you can have your real estate license and your mortgage license simultaneously. So you can do both sides of the transaction. You can't do both sides of the transaction if you are doing an FHA deal. But if you're doing conventional deals, you're doing commercial deals, investment properties, you can be the realtor and the loan officer on that same transaction, and you can double dip, right? Which a lot of people don't understand. So if you're a CPA, if you're a car salesman, if you're a customer service rep, if you work in one of these department stores, these are all good jobs that translate very well in the mortgage industry.
So once I passed that, I got my license, somebody is now sponsoring me. Do I ever have to renew my license, or am I good? And I guess it's a twofold question. The most important part is, like, how do I make money? You talked about agents, and we watch these shows, and I'm guilty of it as well. And we watch that they get commission from the sale. How does that work for somebody in your space?
So to answer the first part of that question, yes, you have to renew on an annual basis. You have to do continuing education every single year. So the more licenses that you have under your belt, the more continuing education you have to do annually. Some states you have to do 2 hours, some states you have to do 3 hours, and it has to all be done before December 31st of that calendar year, right? So you can hold your license in multiple states. So let's just say, for example, we're based in New York. I work for a New York-based company, but the company is licensed nationwide. I can hold an individual loan officer MLO license in each of those states that the company that I work for is also licensed, because they can sponsor me in each of those states. But if I